And what does it mean for Israelis that the October 7th attack is the worst since the Holocaust? What special meaning does this have?
Now you're getting into the models that people form of the world around them, which is something that we have to deal with eventually in trauma treatment for the person to be completely functional again. Because in trauma, the model, most of the time, the model that you have of how the world is, how safe the world is ruptured. There's an injury to that. And the extent of that injury impacts the extent of how much treatment is going to be needed, basically. So this isn't often talked about, but if you look at international data, for instance, when we have people in the UN international armies that are trying to protect something and they're exposed to different amounts of traumas, some sort of violence, whether it's bombs or whatnot, you'll see that culturally there is a different rate of PTSD. And Americans usually have more than other countries. There are theories about it, and it's interesting because these theories started by non-American psychiatrists and specialists in trauma, that the worldview of Americans, we've been so sheltered, our country's so big, we don't often have attacks on our land. So we have a model of the world where it's safe, and or at least safer than most other people in the world. And so when that gets shattered by some sort of, not necessarily unexpected violence, someone, let's say, who's raised in Lebanon, who the bombs can be going off all the time, especially there was about a 15-20 year period there where such fighting among the different groups there, even after the Civil War there. So since they expected it almost every moment, you never knew when you walked out the door what was going to happen. So they didn't have to revise their model of the world. But Americans have to do more of that. Historians talk about our generation, that we were living in a blip. And definitely, Israel less so because they were having wars. But this type of massacre was beyond what anybody ever even dreamed of.